What's up, you guys? This is HJ here, and welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's YouTube review, I'm going to be reviewing the Acer Nitro as either 515 or V15. Doesn't matter how you say it. It is an Acer Nitro 5 laptop. It is 15.6 inches, as the name suggests. Now, keep in mind, I did already unbox the laptop because I actually got it on Friday, and I set some stuff up and took stuff out of the box. But we're actually going to start by going over what you guys are going to get in the box. So for starters, of course, you guys have the laptop itself. Now keep in mind, this is the Best Buy version, and so this is the i7-13620H processor version, and it has an RTX 4060 inside of it. Now, of course, it does come with the stickers, so you guys can see I put the stickers right here, and then you also get a laptop sleeve, which is over there, and the charger. Now, starting with the ports on the left-hand side of the laptop, you get your power input. Make sure you push this down when you plug in the charger really well, because if you don't put enough force into it, it will not go in and it will not charge the laptop. I found that out the hard way. Now, this is a gigabit Ethernet port, HDMI 2.1 port, USB 3 Type A, USB-C Thunderbolt 4 right there. On the right-hand side, we have a USB-A 3.0 port. We have a headphone jack, ventilation on the top part, Kensington lock, and then on the back side of the laptop, have nothing but ventilation on the left, 50% on the left-hand side, and that is all the ports to round it out. Now, I'm also going to go over what you get in the box in terms of accessories. So over here, on my left here, we have a 135 watts AC adapter, and these are really cheap to replace. So I noticed that the Acer Nitro accessories, like chargers, bags, and stuff, on their website are way cheap. Like, I could get that charger for $35 right now off of the Acer website. So if you need a replacement, that's something to keep in mind, that Acer is a good brand for making replacement components cheaper. And you also get a Nitro sleeve in the Best Buy variant, which is actually pretty cool. So when I unboxed this, I didn't know I was going to get a laptop sleeve, and I was really happy to receive this because this can fit up to 15.6-inch laptops, and if you have a large enough backpack like I do, you can put it inside the sleeve and then put it inside the backpack for extra protection. Now, I am going to go over some benchmarks towards the end of the video, so I do have some graphs for that as far as the gaming performance is concerned, but I do want to go over this display, because this display and keyboard and trackpad, they're pretty decent. Now, they're not going to be the most perfect thing in the world, but they are okay for what you need it to do. I'm going to take my camera off the stand here. Try to trip over that, because that would be a catastrophe. LOL. And I'm going to log in here and show you guys these cool features. So starting off with the trackpad, you do get a pretty decently sized trackpad, and it's a diving board style, so it's not glass. Inner chassis is hard plastic. It's not metal. I know what you guys are thinking. It probably sounds pretty close to metal. I promise you, it's not metal. It's a very hard plastic, similar to what they use on the HP Victus series, and even some of the Dell G15 series and G16 series laptops. So it's very similar material, just a little bit harder and closer to metal, but not fully metal. Not metal at all, actually. So this is the keyboard. It's fully backlit. Full size. You get a number pad for my accountants who are really good at math. Great job, you guys. I shout out to you guys for being so awesome at math, and which I could never do. But if you guys push down, I really don't get any flex on this. And the cool thing about the backlit keyboard, it is 2 stages. Now, this model doesn't come with RGB. There are models in the past that had red lights and some that had RGB. This particular model and this form factor design of the Acer Nitro does not have that. if you get the one with the ports on the back, or if you get the one, like the bigger bulky ones, some of those have the RGB. This one's not it. If you're looking for RGB, go for one of those, or go for a different laptop. But I'm going to say RGB does not equate to a great display, and it does not equate to performance. And that is the truth. So here I'm going to go into my system and show you guys the display so you guys can see the refresh rate and all that, because it's really cool that you guys get a dynamic refresh rate of 72 to 144 Hertz. You can set it to a static or set mode of 144, 72, and 60. Now, if you guys want to save some battery, or if you guys are playing a AAA title and you still want to max out the refresh rate, put it on 60, perfectly fine. If you guys want to do esports titles, or if you guys are playing a game that adjusts for graphics, like, I don't know, if you're playing a game like Destiny 2 that can take advantage of the refresh rate, but it's not consistently take advantage of the refresh rate, then you guys can set on dynamic. And games like Apex, well, that 144 Hertz is on point, is very stellar. Now, colors are 65% sRGB, which is not color accurate screen. You can do the automatically managed color for apps in Windows 11. That's not going to do you really any good. It's just the Windows 11 feature to make it a little bit closer to original, but it's no substitute for HDR, and this thing does get around 300 nits. Now, my screen in particular, it goes a little bit brighter. I can see it outdoors, so it's clearly not exactly 300. It's a little bit above, probably 320, 330. But that's a panel lottery thing. Some panels are slightly under and slightly above. It's a whole thing that laptops naturally have by default. And the other cool thing about this is we are getting that 4060, which I'll go over the specifications in Task Manager here for you guys, and I'll pull it up. So here you guys can see in the performance we are rocking. Oh, this thing is 16 gigs of DDR5 5200, and it's not soldered down. That's a great thing. If you want 64 gigs and you want DDR5, go for it. And this thing doesn't come preloaded with studio drivers for stability and for creative apps, but if you want to switch to that, the NVIDIA software will let you switch. As far as I'm concerned, it does not. I don't think it has a mux switch. I could be wrong. Haven't checked that yet. But as soon as I find that out, I will. If anybody comments and asks about that, I will let you guys know. So this is the 4060 laptop variant. It is 8 gigs of VRAM, and it is pretty beastly. It's not the most powerful laptop GPU in the world. That title goes to actually the 4090. Actually, I want to say it's the 4080 that is actually tied with what's actually somewhat on par with the 4090 in terms of statistics, only because of the power limits. Some laptops that have a higher rated 4080 that has the max power limit can get pretty close to the 4090, so I'm not so sure about that, about the 4090 taking the crown there. 4070 is always a sweet spot as well, but if you want a budget laptop and you want to get a 4060 and crank some things up to max but not everything, then this is a way to go. I mean, I only spent about $900 on this, and this is actually working really well for me. For reference, I'm going to get to the benchmarks here, so I'm going to pull that up on my screen. So here you guys can see that I got 45 FPS on 5M on max, and 87 average FPS on Destiny 2 on max. Pretty good. I will test more games in the future, so let me know what games you want me to test. So I did actually edit this video on this laptop. So the cool thing about the video editing is that export and render times are pretty decently good. Now, I will say that if we're going to do anything 4K related, this can handle it, and I think it should be okay. Just don't stack way too many layers like a movie, like a full, like, Fox Studios movie or something, because that will start to take a toll on the frames. But I think for anything 8 to maybe 7 layers or lower for 4K, for 1080p or 4K should generally be fine. And most people that are doing content creation most people don't need too many layers, just enough for what they're doing. So I think for what you guys are doing for video editing wise, it should generally be okay, and it's an enjoyable experience overall. Now I will say that honestly, in terms of CPU benchmarks, the reason why I didn't do CPU benchmarks is because right now at the moment I don't have the capabilities to test that on my end, and so hopefully in a future video I can actually test that. But I will tell you that the CPU max clock, well, the base clock is 2.40, and that i7 does crush through a lot of CPU intensive tasks, and it's not going to be impressive like an HX or an i9 or something, but it is pretty darn good. And I did run City Skylines 2, which is balanced of CPU and GPU intensive, and that actually did run pretty phenomenally with almost no frame drops. Like I was averaging way above what I was on my old laptop. And granted, even with the performance hit that City Skylines 2 has right now because of bugs and stuff, I didn't experience any of that on the 4060. And I think part of that's because of the CPU, and part of that is because of the GPU. Now, talking about battery life. Now, I know this may sound like a surprise. Not. It is not good battery life. It's okay. It's not stellar. It's not the worst. So it's actually in between. So I'm gonna explain. So it only has a 57, just about a 57 watt hour battery, which, with an 8 processor and a 4060. Thermals and TGP wise, they brought it down to save battery and to keep the laptop from overheating. It didn't cost that much performance in my testing, but it did cause a hit on battery life because the power draw on a 57 watt hour battery with an H processor and a 40 series graphics card higher than a 4050 is actually a little bit more of a toll than what I personally was expecting. So right now it's at 80%. I actually did use it down to about 40 at max brightness, and I will say it was about an hour and 15 to an hour and a half from 100 to 40. That compared to a Legion, compared to a Lock maybe with an H series, not an HX, perhaps the Victus, and even the Victus AMD Advantage model or 2050 model that actually had a 52.5 watt hour battery and lasted longer than this, mind you. It's actually pretty bad. But again, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like some Ultrabooks, like with 41 watt hour batteries, and some cheaper notebooks, and even some gaming laptops that have HX series processors but don't have a large battery, their laptop battery is genuinely going to be a little bit worse than this. So it's not going to be groundbreaking, is what I'm saying. You guys can still, I mean, as far as I know, you guys can still charge it with USB-C. It charges pretty decently fast on the AC adapter, so it's not really going to have a whole lot of issues if you can get to an outlet within about 3.5 hours of usage. But the moment you start playing Minecraft, I said it. I said Minecraft. Minecraft is the lightest game on earth. It runs on 4 gigs of RAM because it's OpenGL. And Minecraft, I could run Minecraft on battery with the max FPS. It would drain in about 30 to 45 minutes. I'm not even kidding. So if you guys are going to do anything gaming, plug the laptop in. Even if the game you're running is Roblox or Minecraft, which can run 100 FPS on battery easily, plug in the laptop anyways, because the battery problem will outweigh the benefit of gaming on battery, and it will not be enjoyable to game on battery. Not like many people would do that anyways, but there are some laptops you can get away with this. This one is not one of them. So if you guys are going to try and do that, I suggest you be ready to charge from dead in a heartbeat. Okay? So that's the battery life. Now, as far as temperatures are concerned, Temps wise, the fan does get up to 50 something decibels. As far as I'm concerned, it's pretty loud. Wear headphones, and if you're going to be on a surface, use a hard surface. It doesn't get obsessively hot. I will say it does get a little bit warm on a desk. On my bed, because I have used it on my bed, on idle and YouTube, it does not get that hot to the point where it's like more than lukewarm on a bed when you're not gaming. When you are gaming, if you're on a bed and you suffocate this machine, it's gonna get really hot. Like, you're gonna feel it. It's not gonna burn your hand to like a 3rd degree burn kind of hot, but you're definitely going to feel it. So I would advise, if you're gonna do anything intensive, if you're not just watching a YouTube video at night on your bed, use it on a desk, because it does get decently warm. Not the warmest in the bunch, but it's still something to keep in mind. Now, anyways, if you guys like this video, please be sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I actually am getting a little bit better about making sure that these videos are a little bit better quality in terms of my reviews. I'm trying to get there. I'm a small channel, 236 subs at the time of this video. So, I mean, anything you guys can do to show support for the channel and potentially the podcast that I have on Spotify will actually make a very big difference, and I really appreciate it. Anyways, that does it for me, you guys, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Oh, and by the way, really quickly, enjoy your Sunday and have a blessed one.